Welcome back. I'm Lucas Guerin, joined with my co-host.
Hi, Mackenzie Flick.
And you're listening to the Bago Broadcasters. Today we have very special guests here from Jimtown DECA. So to start off, could you all please introduce yourselves and tell us what your job and role in DECA is?
Hi, my name is Jacob Coots. I'm a senior. I'm a state officer this year for Indiana. I'm the Vice President of Technology and Communications. At Jimtown, I just help out around wherever I can and fill in for Elena Anthony, who's the club president, who's actually not here right now. So,
okay, well, nice. Hopefully you're doing a great job. It seems like you are.
And for people who don't know you, could you give us a quick rundown of what DECA is about?
All right, so DECA is a high school organization and collegiate organization. DECA is a business organization for high school and collegiate students who are wanting to go into business fields and also just learn some general life skills. Some things that we do in DECA is we'll go to competitions where, depending on what event you're in or what type of event you're doing, you'll have to learn on the fly about how to perform in different business situations in front of role plays, in front of judges, in front of events.
Okay, well, that's all pretty cool. So is that like the overall thing that everyone does, or is that just specific people in it?
Everyone in DECA gets to compete.
Okay, nice. So are you guys like school-based teams, or do you guys compete against each other in the same school?
Jimtown has its own DECA chapter, so we are the ones who compete against other schools.
Okay, nice. So before we move on to the next questions, I do want to give a chance for everyone else here that's in DECA to introduce themselves and tell us about themselves as well, just because we want everyone to feel included here. DECA is not a one-person thing, it's an entire team, so it's important that we get to hear about everyone in it.
Hi, I'm McKenna Farrell, and I'm the Vice President of Leadership. So my job is to pretty much handle things like our D2 outing, which happens every year in September, which is where we get to go and kind of just start off the DECA year with things like practice role plays and practice tests, and just make sure that everyone feels prepared going into the year. I'm also a senior here at Jimtown High School, and this is my second year in DECA, and it's great.
Hi, my name is Andrew Eaton. I'm a senior here at Jimtown. I'm our Vice President of Marketing, along with Samuel Wart, which basically means I'm just supposed to put our name out there in a positive light, and I also moonlight as our accountant sometimes.
Hi, my name is Grace Crocker, and I'm the Career Development Leadership President, and I just make sure that everybody is ready for their events. I let them do tests. I get people to do role plays that will mimic how competition actually feels, and I'm just there to make sure that everybody's ready to bring their A game and when we get to compete.
So that all sounds very great. So you put all these individual jobs together and you guys get the wonderful thing that is Jimtown DECA. And so it seems like DECA is basically trying to train leaders for the future, and it seems to specifically focus more so on business. So are any of you by chance planning to start a business sometime in the future?
I do want to start a business. My event in DECA is restaurant and food service management. So someday I hope to open up my own sports bar type place. So yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to open a restaurant someday.
Nice. And do you have plans for how you're going to get there, how you're going to do all that?
Not yet. My plan after high school is to go off to college and hopefully learn as much as I possibly can before I'm thrown into the deep end.
Yeah, that should help a lot.
Sounds really cool. So what kind of principles are valued in DECA?
Some things that are valued in DECA members are the ability to think while under pressure. In role plays, you are given a short amount of time. You have to be able to come up with stuff on the fly. Fake it till you make it is a big thing that we do in DECA, especially if you're a younger member and you don't quite know what you're doing. It's not the end of the world if you don't quite know something, if you make it up, because sometimes you'll know just as much, if not more, than your judges do. So it's good to be confident. So confidence, being able to think on the fly, those are two really big attributes that we look for in DECA members.
Yeah, and the odds are you're all going to have to use that at some point during this interview today, so it's good to have those skills.
Yeah, I'm for sure thinking on the fly right now.
Oh yeah, aren't we all? So up next, could each of you just give us a fun memory that you have of your time in DECA, so that way we can see what kind of things people enjoy about it, what kind of things people take away from it and look back on like in the future and think to themselves, that was pretty cool.
So my fondest memory was going to international competition with Jacob Coots and Trent Eaton. We got to experience so many different ways to apply DECA to our real lives, and we just got to also go out and see the world and have a lot of fun while we were doing it.
Well, that sounds fantastic. You know, it's great to get out and do as much as you can while you're young.
My favorite memory of being in DECA so far has been our trip to Detroit for the Central Region Leadership Conference. It was just a lot of fun to go up and experience something new, even if it was really, really cold.
That's good.
My favorite memory of DECA is last year was my first year, but yet somehow I managed to make it down to state. And they just kind of threw us into this giant conference hall. And, I was getting lost all over the place trying to get back to the hotel and down to the competition. And just to see what large-scale DECA was and, all the opportunities it had to offer coming in so new.
And one of my favorite DECA memories is just meeting a whole bunch of new people, being able to go to places such as Orlando, Atlanta, Omaha, Detroit. This year we're going to Minneapolis. I've gone to Indy multiple times. Being able to travel and meet all these new people is such a great experience that I wouldn't have been able to get to do without DECA.
Wow, that sounds actually amazing. I think I should join that.
Yeah, this year international competition is in Nashville, Tennessee, so we'll get to spend a week down there.
Nice.
All right. How has DECA improved or impacted a part of your life?
DECA has made me a lot more confident as a person. I know what I want to do with my life now. Before high school and before joining DECA, I had a vague idea of what I wanted to do, but after being in DECA for now 4 years, I know exactly what I want to do with my life.
Yeah, well, that's great because, a lot of people, including myself a bit, you're going through high school, you don't necessarily know what you want to do once you get out of there. You might have some basic plans like going to college or something, but it's always great to have help along the way to figure out what in specific you want to do. So that's very useful, and hopefully you can accomplish whatever it is that you set out to do.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, so what kind of things should we expect from DECA events like this year, things that we might see before long?
Current things are usually just like there's a hospitality and tourism industry, there's a restaurant industry. It's all really quick thinking. There is a writing industry, so if you're into writing, you can work on writing. It's a long paper, 5 pages, I think. We're going to Minneapolis. So November 6th, we're heading down to Indianapolis for our fall leadership conference. We're taking, is that a big bus? We're taking 30 kids down to Indianapolis. We're going to go see a Pacers game. So December 5th through the 8th, we're heading up through Chicago and into Minneapolis to spend time with our fall Central Region Leadership Conference. And after that is our next event is Locals, and that's in January.
So within DECA, who has been here the longest?
They're all pointing at you, Coots.
Yeah, I've been here the longest. This is my 4th year. I joined as a freshman, and having that experience is awesome.
What would you want to say to the future DECA participants?
Stay focused. Make sure that when going to all these competitions, you don't get overwhelmed. It's easy to get overwhelmed and get lost. Don't focus on that. Focus on your competition. Focus on you, and you'll be just fine.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, so DECA sounds like it's a lot of fun, but it also sounds a bit stressful. Would you personally, having tons of experience, say it's worth joining?
Absolutely. DECA has given me a purpose in my life. I now know what I want to do. It's given me a direction. It's awesome.
Okay, so we are now going to be asking Mr. Pinier a few questions. He is the head of DECA for Jimtown High School. Mr. Pinier, thank you for joining us.
Certainly.
And I'm going to ask you to start off, what is it exactly that you do as the head of DECA? We've asked your students some questions, so I figured why not ask you? You're the adult of the whole thing here for Jimtown. So I'm interested to see what it is exactly that you do for DECA.
I'll certainly accept the compliment of being called an adult. I started being involved in DECA 25 years ago, and it's really a growing beast, and I'm still figuring out what we're going to do and how we're going to do the next thing. But I really depend on my leaders. We have an executive council, many of the people that are here, to be in charge of the group, and everybody has a position and they have a title and they're in charge of different things, whether it's fundraising, whether it's we call it philanthropic ventures, but that's the same as community service, or if they're in charge of leadership and conferences and that sort of thing. I really want to give the kids as much control as possible because I think that that's how they learn. So I really enjoy seeing all of the growth that happens with all of the students, whether they're freshmen or sophomores coming in and learning from the very beginning, or my leaders who I depend on to keep this organization going.
Yeah, so you just mentioned that you started DECA 25 years ago, is that correct?
Yes, that is.
So what got you into DECA?
I worked 15 years in management, mostly retail management, before I came to Jimtown High School. I got here because my kids were getting to the point where they were playing Little League and being involved in stuff, and working retail required a lot of nights and weekends. I didn't want to do that. So my wife says, hey, we owned a business at the time. And my wife says, hey, why don't we just sell the business and you can be a teacher? I'm like, what? Why would I do that? And of course, as always, she was very correct. And so I was at Bethel. I was going to classes, and they were putting me out into like visits. And I went to Mishawaka High School, who at the time had a great DECA advisor. And I'd been studying for my business license. And when I saw the marketing program there, it was like, wow, that is exactly what I want to do. And as it happened, the marketing teaching job opened up here at Jimtown. And Mr. Trosper was the principal at the time, and he wanted me to be fully qualified for the job before I took it, which meant in one summer I did 26 hours worth of college credit, and I got the job, and I've never looked back. It's an amazing job to have.
Wow.
Well, you certainly seem passionate about it, which is good. You want someone leading a group like this to be passionate. That's what drives those things forward, so it's great to hear that. You know, DECA seems to have a pretty big influence. You know, they've been going for at least 25 years. You said that's how long you've been here. So they're definitely a big group by now, I'd imagine. I mean, they have their whole week dedicated to them, actually, I think I've heard. And I think you guys called that DECA Week.
Yeah, we heard about that.
Yeah, I don't really know what that is, so I was hoping, Mr. Pinier, maybe you could explain to me a bit about DECA Week and what that is for you guys.
Yeah, we've been doing DECA Week now for probably as long as I've been here, and it's just a time that we can put ourselves out into our school community and make sure that you know, we're talking to students, letting them know what DECA's about. On Monday, we'll be giving out candy to everybody, and if they want to talk more about DECA, we can talk then, but that's just kind of exposure for us. On Tuesday, we do a hat and sunglasses day for only $1. A lot of students love that. They want to wear their hats, so come on down on Tuesday. Bring your $1. We'll get you hooked up.
Yeah.
Wednesday, we're going to the State Fall Leadership Conference, which will have probably 800 to 1,000 students there, and it's at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. We'll hear from people with the Pacers from Bankers Life Fieldhouse. We'll go out and have a nice dinner. Afterwards, we'll come back and watch the Pacer basketball game and get home about midnight. Then on Thursday, I have to get up early on Thursday to hide the diamonds because we have the DECA Diamond Hunt on Thursday.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah, what happens there is I have a bunch of candy, and I put them into bags. I have a bunch of DECA diamonds, and I hide them all over the school, and they're always going to be at least partially visible, so you don't have to like look inside books or anything. And then we'll give those out. And last year I had somebody in April find a diamond and bring it to me, so I had to buy him a candy bar. And then on Friday we really use for some very personal recruiting, people that we know would be good at DECA and good for DECA. And we do some recruiting with them and talk to them and answer their questions and hopefully get them involved if that's what they want to do.
Well, that sounds like it's going to be very eventful, so I'm sure you guys will all enjoy yourselves very much with that. Thank you, Mr. Pinier, for your time. Before we go, is there anything else you'd like to add?
I'd like to thank Jimtown High School, Bago community as a whole, for allowing us to give students opportunities to be a part of this wonderful organization, for being a part of us. We're wrapping up Jar Wars for the month of October, and everyone's been super generous, and it's been a great month for it. We really appreciate that. I always have the students out there not just being involved in what we do for DECA in terms of the business side of it, but out in the community doing some good there. Okay, well, yeah, that's all great. You know, you guys as DECA seem to do a lot of great stuff for the community, for great causes, like you mentioned Jar Wars for MDA. I always hear about you guys doing stuff for these great selfless causes that are just, it's awesome to see you guys doing that. So I know the school appreciates it, our community appreciates it, all the people being helped by it appreciate it, I'm sure. So thank you so much for everything you do, Mr. Pinier.
Thank you.
And now we'll get back to your students for DECA.
Okay, it's been my pleasure. Thank you.
Yep. If any of you guys have anything you want to throw in as some final thoughts, go ahead. Other than that, we'll start wrapping things up.
My only regret with DECA joining as a junior is that I didn't join sooner. It's been one of the best things about high school and the opportunities and the doors it's opened up for me and given me a purpose. So if you have any sort of interest, join now. Don't wait.
Thank you.
Don't cap the ability of your achievements. Honestly, DECA can take you in so many different places that you would never, ever expect. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there and just go for it. Try new things.
All I really have to say is when I started doing DECA as a junior, my brother had been in it since a freshman with Coots here, and I never really expected to be able to do it in college, much less be able to open a new DECA chapter at the college I'm attending, Ancilla. So the opportunities are endless. You can do anything you want in DECA. I'd say join.
Okay, well, thank you all very much for coming down and doing
Thank
this
you.
interview. It's been great getting to learn all the stuff there is to learn about DECA. It really sounds like an amazing organization. To anyone that's listening to this that might happen to be in high school, I'd definitely say consider joining. It sounds just awesome. But other than that, thank you guys so much for coming down. Thank you all so much for listening, and we will see you guys on our next podcast, whatever that is.